Warning. Incoming rant. Warning. Incoming rant.
Hello Internet, I'm Corione, your witch in residence. You know, I didn't want to make this video. I have played D&D and tabletop games since I was 10 or 12. I played original, I played 2nd edition. I have a signed copy of Rules Cyclopedia just over there. Okay? I've been playing this game since forever, and every time a new edition has come out, I've gotten on board. I've pulled out 3rd edition books, 4th edition books. I didn't buy 5th edition because I didn't like what Wizards of the Coast was doing. And now, you know what? Now they've gone too far. Okay? It takes a lot to piss me off. It takes a lot to get me to the point where I will stand up and say, no more. I've had enough. Okay? I have had enough of this company deciding to play God with my franchises. Okay? This is the line. This right here is the line. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is about the Open Gaming License and how critically important the Open Gaming License is to tabletop gaming. To give you guys some context, the Open Gaming License was a dream given form. It was created in response to the events of the world. See, you have to understand that when D&D first started, there were modules out there, but guys who ran games would create their own adventures for their heroes to follow. And sometimes these creations were absolutely works of art and works of genius, and they wanted to share them out to the world. So game shops would have the dungeon masters occasionally meet each other and swap game ideas and swap stories and build their own kind of bootleg adventures. And over time, gamers realized that we needed a community where we could share those. And back when the start of the internet happened, we started doing that. And that's where the Open Gaming License came from. It came from the creators of D&D realizing that homebrew, homemade systems by people were important to the game. That they were never going to be able to create every single type of adventure for every single type of person. So why not let other people create those adventures and publish them and make something fantastic and wonderful and a joy for the community? And they did. And when people started having issues with 3rd edition and 4th edition, Pathfinder came out of this same concept. The idea that some people liked some rules, some people liked other rules, and we can split this off so that everybody gets what they want. Okay? Everybody can have the kind of adventure they want to have. If you are the kind of player that wants to find a group that your characters are primarily running a city or building a community, you can have that. If you want to play villains and destroy a civilization, you can play that. If you want to play in a morally gray world akin to Game of Thrones, that can happen, okay? That is the power of D&D. That is the amazement of cooperative storytelling. We've been doing this for ages. I mean, hell, the first RPGs are credited to Crusaders coming back from the Crusades and wanting to deal with what they saw by creating these stories, by creating these war game examples of what happened. This has been around a long time before D&D ever existed. The only thing Gary Gygax really did was codify the rules so that everyone could use them, so that everybody could play it. And he did it. And then when he did it, others who took up the mantle after him made it so that everybody could publish what they wanted, could give their gift of their genius to other people. And now, Hasbro has decided to screw every single one of those people because of corporate greed. Now look, I have no problem with a company making money. I completely agree that, we should buy the core books, and before we go and make all kinds of other adventures that are tailored to our players. I'm fine with that. In fact, I encourage that. I would not want to see anybody lose money on what the actual product is. But you know what? You can't decide to take the legacy of other people and just co-opt it for your own ends. Okay? For those who are unaware of what's happened, we've got the past of the OLG. The new open gaming license that Hasbro is proposing basically states that they own the game system outright, which, fair. And that if you create content with it, you have to notify them that you have created content. Something that I'm going to tell you right now is not going to fly. Then you have to tell them how much money you've made with it. And you have to show them every piece of what you've made, just in case it doesn't meet their draconian definitions of what should be allowed and not allowed in society. And then, well, if Hasbro really likes it, and Wizards of the Coast really likes it, they can just straight up say, we reserve the right to republish it from now on and take 100% of the profits if we decide we want to take 100% of the profits, or we could take less and give you a pittance. They're stealing people's dreams. They're stealing people's ideas. And they're doing it for corporate greed. No other reason. And Wizards of the Coast for a long time was a great company. I remember when Wizards of the Coast was so worried that they were going to run out of cards in their first edition that they started panicking, going, what do we do if this is super popular? I remember when they decided to try to buy out TSR because they thought centralizing the fantasy genre would lead to a new era of opening it up to the world. And in a lot of ways it did. But you know what it also did? It put it under control of people that have very odd ideas about what should be allowed and shouldn't be allowed. Because, the big thing about Wizards of the Coast that they seem to have forgotten about, they seem to have forgotten that we remember that Magic the Gathering tournaments, they didn't do proper background checks on some of the referees. And some of the individuals that were watching over these kids, they preferred the company of children, if you know what I mean. And they thought we'd just forget it. But you know what? We didn't. Wizards of the Coast has routinely swiped ideas and concepts from people. Did they think we'd forget? Well, we didn't. Wizards of the Coast has gone out of their way to make Magic the Gathering this beautiful, fun, exciting game, all about competition, all about selling more cards, and all about alienating older fans for their own agenda. They are a company that specifically called out and made it quite clear that for hiring purposes, white males need not apply. Now, I remember reading in books about eras where people could put up signs saying things like, the Irish need not apply, or Italians need not apply, or foreigners need not apply. We've moved on beyond that. And now we've gone so far the other way, we've decided to take another group of people and alienate them simply so that we can look cool and look like everyone else in California that has gone on this way. No, this isn't okay. But we remember you doing that, Wizards of the Coast. We remember those terrible things you have done. And now we're adding another one to the list, and I've had it. I have had it with your business practices. I have had it with your behavior. I've had it with your gross negligence of putting young kids in harm's way. And furthermore, I have had it with you deciding that this beautiful idea, this dream of cooperative storytelling needs to be packaged up, boxed up, and put on a retail sticker that only you control. It's not going to happen anymore. I will not be purchasing a Wizards of the Coast product. I will not be engaging in Wizards of the Coast events. I will not be sanctioning anything a Wizards of the Coast member says until this new open gaming license is completely thrown out. And that's where I would have been until the latest revelation that came out. They seem to think, illegally I might add, that if you agree to the new open gaming license, it invalidates the previous open gaming license. So if you want to publish for this new version of D&D, which nobody needs, if you decide to do that, you give up your rights to all your previous products and more or less sign away your soul, your dreams, and your heart to Hasbro, a company that is infamous for crushing spirits for pure profit and greed. Well, I've had enough. I'm sticking with Pathfinder. I'm sticking with all the other games that have come out because of your shenanigans. I'm going to support them. I'm going to encourage others to support them. I'm out. I am done with you. And I never want to see a Wizards of the Coast product ever again. And I'm going to encourage the game shops around me to do the same. Because your little stunt of creating a new D&D that's more interactive and has downloadable content is going to screw them. It's going to turn them into what EB Games has become. All right? It's going to decide that you're going to slowly phase out the game shops so that everyone has to play online all the time and download everything they get from there, instead of allowing us to come together in a store surrounded by the smell of wonderful books and talk about what we love, share and exchange ideas, meet new people, get new groups together, and simply enjoy a game where for a couple of hours a human nerd accountant can suddenly become a mighty warrior or a brave wizard, or dare I say, the sneaky rogue. And you know why you're doing it? You're doing it because your investors want to see more money than the previous year. You're not doing it because you're helping the community, because you have no interest in helping the community. If you did, there would be community events with those stores. You would go out of your way to arrange professional DMs to come out to these stores and run training camps for DMs so that they can improve. You'd get Joe and a lot of the other DMs that you tout as the titans of the industry to come out and do videos showing off the new adventure and maybe walking DMs through how you would suggest running it and what kind of strange encounters you can have in this, and maybe even how you can spice it up for your players and add in, all kinds of, take it from PG-13 to take it to R if you want, or take it all the way down to G, right? You could do that. You could walk people through this and give them the toolkits they need to make better experiences for everyone. Hell, you could even put out a big block of STL files for free, that anyone could 3D print to build their own terrain, and it would be standardized, and you would have painting guides, and you could make life wonderful for everybody involved. Hell, if a big STL block like that was put out, I would have probably considered paying for it until now. Now you've crossed the line, and I'm going to make you pay for it. I'm going to work my butt off in the local community to make sure you don't see a dime. And you know why I'm doing that? Because you went too far. You decided to go after dreams, and this is the response. And I do think it's a proportional response. I'm not a huge, million channel person, but you know what I am? I am one man who's had enough and who is determined to make you suffer for the suffering you're causing. And I'm going to warn you right now, one man who is this determined is more powerful than 10 hired lawyers. Prepare to reap the whirlwind, Wizards of the Coast, because I won't do any physical harm to you, but you can bet I will campaign against you with the last breath I have. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Corione, your witch in residence. I'm not going to do my normal sign-off because this is not a peaceful video. This is me mad. This is me at the end of my rope with these people. So you know what? Everybody who is a decent, reasonable human, guys, have a wonderful day. And for you at Wizards of the Coast, be aware, I'm coming for you.